Your brain is literally wired to believe the first thing it thinks. That anxious voice telling you, "I'm going to mess this up," or "I don't belong here," gets automatic credibility from your brain, while the rational voice that wants to challenge it has to fight an uphill battle just to be heard. This isn't a personal weakness, it's neuroscience. And understanding this changes everything about how you deal with those crushing thoughts that seem to sabotage your confidence right when you need it most. I want to talk about something that almost everyone deals with, but rarely gets addressed directly. That internal voice that seems determined to convince you that you're not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough to succeed. You know what I'm talking about. It's the voice that shows up right before a big presentation and whispers, "Everyone's going to see you don't know what you're talking about." It's the one that turns a single mistake into evidence that you're probably not cut out for what you're trying to do. It's the mental commentary that can turn even your successes into flukes or accidents. The problem is, most people try to deal with these thoughts by either ignoring them completely or getting into exhausting mental arguments with them. Neither approach works very well, and there's a scientific reason why. Here's what's actually happening in your brain when you have a negative thought. According to something called the false tagging theory, your brain's default mode is to believe whatever thought pops up first. When the thought, "I'm going to embarrass myself," shows up, your brain initially accepts it as true. To doubt that thought, to question it, requires your prefrontal cortex to step in and basically argue with that initial reaction. But here's the kicker. When you're stressed or anxious, that prefrontal cortex is already overworked. It's like trying to be your own defense attorney while you're also dealing with everything else life throws at you. This is why these thoughts feel so convincing. It's not that they are true, it's that your brain is designed to give them the benefit of the doubt first while making you work twice as hard to challenge them. And when you get caught in what researchers call repetitive negative thinking, basically when your mind gets stuck on loop replaying the same worried or self-critical thoughts, multiple brain networks start working against you. The result? You get mentally stuck, and those negative thoughts start feeling more and more real, even though they're often completely disconnected from reality. So why doesn't just thinking positive work? Because you're essentially trying to fight biology with willpower. It's like trying to hold back a river with your hands. And why doesn't ignoring the thoughts work? Because research shows that trying to suppress thoughts actually makes them more frequent and more intense. It's like being told not to think about a white elephant. Suddenly, that's all you can think about. The good news is that understanding how this works gives us a roadmap for what actually does work. Effective management of negative thoughts isn't about finding one magic technique. It's about building a system that works at different levels. The first layer is developing awareness of your thoughts and changing your relationship with them. This is where mindfulness comes in, but not in the way most people think about it. Mindfulness isn't about clearing your mind or feeling peaceful. It's about developing the ability to notice when you're having a thought without immediately believing it or reacting to it. The key insight from acceptance and commitment therapy is this: you don't have to believe your thoughts and you don't have to like your feelings, but fighting them just gives them more power. Instead, you learn to see thoughts as mental events, like clouds passing through the sky, rather than as facts about reality. When the thought, "I don't belong here," shows up, instead of immediately debating whether it's true or trying to push it away, you practice noticing, "I'm having the thought that I don't belong here." That simple shift creates psychological space between you and the thought. Now, with that awareness in place, you can use more targeted techniques to address specific problematic thoughts. This is where cognitive behavioral therapy techniques become powerful. The idea is to treat your negative thoughts like hypotheses that need to be tested rather than facts that need to be accepted. For example, let's say you have the thought, "If I speak up in this meeting, everyone will think I'm incompetent." Instead of just believing this or trying to argue it away, you design a behavioral experiment. You decide to contribute one idea in your next meeting and observe what actually happens. 9 times out of 10, you'll discover that your prediction was completely wrong. Maybe your colleagues appreciate the input. Maybe they build on your idea. Maybe absolutely no one cares at all, and the world keeps spinning. The power isn't in the thinking, it's in the testing. You're gathering real-world evidence to challenge the stories your anxious brain is telling you. Finally, when you do mess up, because you will, because everyone does, you need a way to respond that doesn't make everything worse. This is where self-compassion becomes crucial. Research shows that self-criticism triggers the same physiological stress response as being attacked by someone else. You're literally putting your nervous system into threat mode, which makes it much harder to think clearly or perform well. Self-compassion works by activating what researchers call your mammalian care system. Instead of flooding your body with stress hormones, it triggers the release of oxytocin and endorphins, chemicals that promote feelings of safety and calm. The practice is simple but profound. When you mess up, instead of the usual self-attack, you ask yourself, what would I say to a good friend who is going through this exact same situation? Then you try to offer yourself that same kindness and understanding. This isn't about lowering your standards or making excuses. It's about creating the internal conditions where you can actually learn from mistakes and bounce back, rather than getting stuck in shame spirals that make everything worse. Here's how this looks in practice. Let's say you're preparing for an important presentation and the thought, "I'm going to fail and embarrass myself," keeps looping in your head. Awareness practice. Notice the thought without immediately reacting. I'm having the thought that I'm going to fail. Evidence gathering. What's the actual evidence? You've given presentations before. You know your material. You've prepared. This catastrophic prediction is just that, a prediction, not a fact. Self-compassion. This is really stressful. It makes sense that I'm worried about something this important. What do I need right now to support myself through this? Then you take action based on your values rather than fear. You prepare because doing good work matters to you, not because you're trying to escape the anxiety. The goal isn't to never have negative thoughts. That's not realistic and it's not even desirable. Some degree of self-reflection and concern about performance can be motivating and helpful. The goal is to not let those thoughts run your life, to not let them make decisions for you or keep you from taking the risks that growth requires. When you understand how your brain works, when you develop the skills to work with your thoughts rather than against them, something shifts. Those old, familiar patterns of self-doubt start to lose their grip. You begin to see them for what they are, old programming that's trying to keep you safe, but that's no longer serving you. And from that place, you can finally start making choices based on who you want to become rather than who your anxious brain thinks you are.